Ladies and gentlemen, Skyblock has changed a lot in the last year, and many of the changes were really good for the game. But as 2023 approaches, I wanted to talk about 9 changes that I feel like are pretty small, but would make Skyblock a lot better. My name is Derailious, and let's launch right into it. Starting off with the first thing I want to go over, I feel like it's relatively minor, but also could be pretty nice. If you look at the bottom of your screen, obviously whenever you break a block, you see how much XP you're getting. However, I do think that they should include the amount of wisdom that you currently have as a percentage next to the amount of XP you have to show how much more XP you're getting than the base. I think this would be really cool for things like, for example, Magic Find. Whenever you kill a monster, imagine the plus 200% Magic Find showing up on the right. Not just whenever you get a drop, but for every kill. This could be something that could be easily disabled or turned on in your settings if you wanted it to, but for stuff like mining, foraging, and farming, I feel like it'd be nice to not have to look in your menu every 5 seconds to double check what your exact wisdom stats are. Some people just don't have it memorized, some people use a lot of different buffs on top of each other, and I feel like this would simplify it a lot. Plus, for some, like mining wisdom, there are a lot of ways that you could be getting mining wisdom. Not only from things like Seasoned Mineman and your mining XP boost effect, but also from booster cookies, from your pet, etc. All of those things stack up after a while, and if you're using also things like a drill with mining wisdom, it becomes a mess to kind of understand how much mining wisdom you're actually getting. So I feel like this would be pretty nice. Both 2 and 3 are both QoL things that I think should be added into the game, but for the first one, number 2, I really think it'd be nice if there was a button you could press to automatically collect every single one of your minions. Obviously, some people, especially later in the game, they have like 27, 28, 29 of these things, and they all are generating tons of resources. It'd be really cool if you could just press a button and have all of those items go into your inventory and then eventually your stash, or have a button where you could just automatically sell everything in here to the bazaar at the lowest price, and for anything that you can't sell to be put in your inventory. There's a lot of stuff here. Some people might disagree. Some people might say, oh, that'd break the game or make Minion Collection too, like, boring or whatever. But I personally think that I have had enough of collecting every single one of these minions, 27 of them, for weeks and weeks on end. Another thing I wanted to go over, number 3, is I really wish that the accessory bag had a little button right here that would automatically sort all the accessories you had by rarity. I don't know how hard this would be. It probably wouldn't be that bad, but obviously for people like me, it is a hassle to repeatedly, set these things up, especially if you're starting a new profile or having a bunch of them that you get at the same time. It can be difficult to sort them, or if you wanted to sort them not just by rarity, but also by what enrichments they have. For example, you could have ones with ferocity go at the front, or the ones with magic find at the front, depending on whatever you want. I feel like that would be pretty interesting, allow you to see what specific parts or upgrades you're getting from your accessory bag, and make it a little bit easier to set it up. Personally, I really want that sorting one for the rarity. I am a mess, I am awful at setting this up, and it would easily take 5 to 10 minutes of my time, which I frankly do not want to spend. Number 4 is one that I feel like is pretty important. If I open up the bazaar, you can see that there's obviously a lot of information here, and I do think that it could be slightly improved. If you go to view graphs, you can actually see some certain information about buy price and sell price and the amount of orders, and that's all very well and good, but I would love to see some more specifics here. For example, what price these dark orbs were sold at 1 week ago, 1 month ago, or even a year ago. It would be pretty interesting to look at that information, see how the prices are changing on a week-by-week basis or a month-by-month basis. A lot of people really like this information, and they've already coded it into Discord bots, which is awesome, but I would love if it was in the game for average players to just look at without having to have a Discord bot do it for them. This type of stuff is relatively simple to add, especially since that information is already collected. It's just not stored in such a manner where it could be used in-game currently. All they would need to do is add that in, and it wouldn't be that bad. I think it would be an awesome improvement to the Bazaar system, make it a little bit easier for people to understand how these prices move, and therefore allow a lot more people to get more interested and pay into the system more, which means more money for everyone. Number 5 here is a bit of a personal pet peeve, but it is the quick crafting menu. I personally do not like that having to craft certain recipes means that I can't actually quick craft it because it's at the bottom of this menu. It'd be really cool if there was a button here that allowed you to go into it, similar to the personal compactor and personal deleter menus, and add items to which you want to be pinned. Pinned items will always appear at the top, and therefore it will be easier to quick craft certain items. This could be an item you have to buy or a talisman you have to upgrade, I don't really care, but I really would love if you were able to quick craft pretty much anything you wanted without having to deal with the current system. Number 6 is one that I feel like is relatively minor but could be really awesome. There are two different ways to look at all of your items in Skyblock. Number 1 is actually going into the collection and recipe book and looking at all the recipes there, but this can be cumbersome, it doesn't really show you every single item in the game, and I don't really think it's the best overall system, as there's no search menu or way to specifically look for one specific item. And if you go to the museum, you can see pretty much every set, but once again, there's no way to search, and it's a little bit cumbersome. If you were to combine both of these into an item compendium that you could open in your Skyblock menu, I feel like this would be pretty awesome. It would only take into account things that you either own or have the recipe for, obviously, but show you all the information of an item or the items in general, like their stats, the recipe to craft the item, and for example, if it has any specific bonuses that you could use. This would be great for newer players who are new to Skyblock and don't know everything about the game. It would get them interested in how the game actually works, and it would make people more interested in setting up specific builds that may or may not be different than the ones already around. Obviously, there's a certain setup for every part of the game, but for early game players, it's a little bit more nuanced, and people are still finding out ways to make the early game go even faster. I feel like an item compendium would make that even more optimized, with people having ways to understand what items to get at what points in the game. Number 7 is another personal one for me. There really should be a way to automatically pick up everything in a brewing stand without having to deal with the picking up one by one. This should also reward you the full amount of XP. It is completely pointless in 2023, it does not need to exist, and with the Wizard Portal update coming out soon and probably including another path to Alchemy 50 or 60, I really do think that this should be changed. Number 8 is one that I think will only benefit a niche group of people, but one I think should be added nonetheless. Basically, at the blacksmith, I think you should be able to have a button here that when you click on, you can put your item in and buy any specific reforge for that item for 10 or 15 times the base cost of reforging it once. Think about it. You basically have a pretty high chance of getting the reforge you want before 10 clicks, but in some cases, that can just drag on to 20, 30, 40 clicks, and it just feels awful whenever that happens. Essentially, this moves the out-of-pocket cost to the very beginning of the process, makes it so you have to waste no time here, you just put it in and that's it, you just get whatever reforge you want, and it will actually drain more coins from the economy, most likely. I think this would be good, it would benefit early game and mid game players, and people with a lot of coins on them, but not a lot of great weaponry. For number 9, I wanted to think a little bit bigger, and so I want to bring up the last point here, which is guild islands. There has not been any guild content in Hypixel Skyblock, and I think it would be cool if you had a communal island that you could build together. This island would be obviously a little bit bigger than a private island, allowing people to show off some crazy builds, and it would be visitable through the hub visit menu for islands through Christopher. I think it would be really sick, I think it would help out the game a ton, and I think it would give guilds a little bit more of a purpose in Hypixel Skyblock, when right now I don't really think they have too much of one. At the end of the day though, my name is Derailious, thank you so much for watching this video till the end. If you have any ideas for future ideas, please leave them in the comments below, I would love to hear what you guys think. Make sure to join my Discord down below for giveaways and updates, and look to the future fellas, because I will see you then.